Hi, my name is Camille T. Dungy, and I am the author of America, a Love Story.
Camille, welcome to Brown Girl Book Lover, and I'm so happy to have you here.
Thank you so much. I'm really happy to be here.
Tell us about this beautiful collection.
Thank you. I have been, it's been almost a decade since I published a book of just straight poems. I published a memoir in 2023. It had a few poems in it, but this is my first collection of poems in a long time. And it took me a while to pull them together. It's a collection of what it means to live in the United States as a Black woman, a mother, a person who's attentive to history and with a hope for the present. And sometimes that's rough. And sometimes it's also a way to really help distill who my people really are. And so it's also a path to love and connection. So those are some of the things I explore in this book.
I find it, as I was telling you before recording, that your book, I know it took a long time, but it feels really current. And why does it feel current?
I think, the changing same that is America. It's just we go through cycles, we make incredible progress, and then it's as if everything just disappears. And those of us who care about creating a more loving community pick up and start again and again. And so sadly, it does sometimes feel like questions that I pondered 6 years ago are the same questions that I'm pondering again today.
I'm gonna ask you to read one poem, but before I do that, when I'm reading this book, I'm always like, ouch, 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 in really good ways. It felt like you didn't hold anything back.
I tried not to hold anything back.
Yeah. And it's just, I think, and with that, like a lot of richness happening and a lot of beauty. And I think just like laying out this country for what it is and showing that intersect, how we intersect in small ways of like the constant crumbling of America.
Hmm.
So
Oh, yeah.
yeah. That it's so funny. That sigh was really big. I love that. What what poem would you like to read for us?
I think I'd be interested in hearing which poems you connected with and what you'd like to hear.
Um, I really need to hear the first one because I just think it's so fabulous and I love the ending. And it's like,
Thank you.
it's like this mama is warning you.
Mm. Yes. This poem is called This'll Hurt Me More. Don't make me send you outside to find a switch, my grandmother used to say. It was years before I had the nerve to ask her why switch was the word her anger reached for when she needed me to act a different way. Still, when I see some branches, wispy ones like willows, like lilacs, like the tan yellow forsythia before the brighter yellow buds, I think these would make perfect switches for a whipping.
Hmm.
America, there is not a place I can wander inside you and not feel a little afraid. Did I ever tell you about that time I was 7, buckled into the back seat of the Volvo before buckles were a thing America required? My parents tried, despite everything, to keep us safe. It's funny. I remember the brown hills sloping toward the valley. A soft brown welcome I looked for other places, but found only there and in my grandmother's skin. Yes, I have just compared my grandmother's body to my childhood's hills, America. I loved them both, and they taught me each things I needed to learn. You have witnessed, America, how pleasant hillsides can quickly catch fire. My grandmother could be like that, but she protected me too. There were strawberry fields, wind guarded in that valley, tarped against the cold. America, you are good at taking care of what you value. Those silver gray tarps made the fields look like a pond I could skate on. As the policeman questioned my dad, I concentrated on the view outside the back window. America, have you ever noticed how well you stretch the imagination? This was Southern California. I'd lived there all my life and never even seen a frozen pond. But there I was in 65-degree weather, imagining my skates carving figure eights on a strawberry field. Of course, my father fit the description. The imagination can accommodate whoever might happen along. America, if you've seen a hillside quickly catch fire, you have also seen a river freeze over, the surface looking placid, though you know the water deep down, dark as my father, is pushing and pushing, still trying to get ahead. We were driving home, my father said. My wife and my daughters, we were just on our way home. I know you want to know what happened next, America. Did my dad make it safely home or not? Outside this window, lilac blooms show up like a rash decision the bush makes each spring. I haven't lived in Southern California for decades. A pond here killed a child we all knew. For years after that accident, as spring bloomed and ice thinned, my daughter remembered the child from her preschool. And now, it's not so much that she's forgotten, it's more that it seems she never knew, it's more that it seems she's never known that child as anything other than drowned. My grandmother didn't have an answer. A switch is what her mother called it, and her grandmother before her. She'd been gone from that part of America for over half a century, but still that southern soil sprang up along the contours of her tongue. America, I'll tell you this much. I cannot understand this mind where it reaches. Even when she was threatening to beat me, I liked to imagine the swishing sound a branch would make as it whipped toward my body, toward the resisting air. I liked to imagine the swishing sound a branch would make as it whipped toward my body through the resisting air. She'd say, "This is hurting me more than it's hurting you." I didn't understand her then, but now I think I do. America, go find me a switch.
I love that you're able to just enact humor at the end. And it's so funny. I was finishing reading Beloved, and then I read this, and I was like, whoa, this is a lot, right? Because you can see how these parallel intersect. And also, I'm reading Toni Morrison, reading about Toni Morrison. I now see Toni Morrison in everywhere, in every Black writer. And like when I'm reading this, I'm thinking about the significance of water and pond in like Beloved. And then I'm thinking about the significance of water in like just in Black folks' lives, right? And all these like beautiful imagery that like I think after reading Morrison compounded, and it just like was echoing and so loud. This poem was just like so loud to me and so beautiful.
Thank you. I think it's fair to see Toni Morrison in so much of our work. Beloved is definitely an ancestor to some of my books. I think it's a direct ancestor text to my second book of poems, Suck on the Marrow. But I think the book that's most influential or most closely related to America, a love story, would actually be Sula
Mm.
for Toni Morrison, because Sula is so much about love. It's about the love between Nell and Sula. It's about Nell's kind of her marriage and how the American situation warped a love that she could have had differently with her husband. It's about the mother love that happens in that book in Sula. All the ways that these Black women were seeking love and support and connection and achieved versions of that, but always somewhat corrupted because of the pressures of living as Black people in the United States. And so I think Sula is my book. Like it is my current favorite Toni Morrison book. And so Sula, I think, would be, if you were to see the echoes, even that Forsythia description, et cetera, which is just true about where I live and the way things bloom. But there are definitely scenes throughout Sula where all of a sudden things will just burst into blossom. And then stuff's going to go down.
Oh, I love this. This like now I'm more than excited about this book. First of all, you said something that like I love you put the language, the ancestor of a book.
Mm.
I'm
Mm-hmm.
I'm taking that. I really like that. And I just love how this like book of fiction has really inspired your work, right? And that's just really important to think about how, because I think sometimes when we think about poetry, or when I think about poetry and poets, I think, oh, maybe other works of poems or like other like nature inspires them, but I never think about like a large text like that would inspire, for you to think about your own writing. So that's really great to know.
Yeah, for sure. And actually, sometimes much more freely,
Mm.
because I don't anticipate, life is long, anything could happen, but I don't anticipate writing a novel.
Mhm.
And so I can read novels with no responsibility as a student to learn how to do that craft, right? I can just read novels for pleasure, for the story. It's the one genre that I have that I get to just read like other people read, without it being an acquisitive process of trying to figure out how to be better at what I'm doing. And so novels are my sweet spot. I love reading novels and teaching them. I'm a professor as well, and so I teach novels as well. And Sula is very, very often on my reading list.
I love poetry for the same exact reason because I can just be like, oh, it feels good. It feels good. And I don't have to be like deconstruct or think about these poetic terms. I can just be like, this is rich.
It's true, and